If you're a parent of a child with autism, you've likely seen them engaging in repetitive movements, maybe things like hand flapping, or maybe they rock back and forth or make certain sounds. And if you're like most parents, you probably wondered why. Why does your kiddo do this? What are they trying to tell you? And most importantly, how can you help them? And if this is you, we love you. You're in the right place for sure, because you want to know how to help your kid. So you may have been told that these are just quirks to suppress, or that your child will eventually grow out of them. But what if I told you that there's actually a deeper reason, one that most doctors overlook? What if these behaviors weren't just something to suppress, but rather a critical message from your child's nervous system, really a signal that something deeper is actually going on? What if that was the case? And what if understanding this hidden message could really transform the way that you support your child's development and ultimately their entire well-being? So in this video, we'll uncover the real root cause of something called stimming. It's a connection between the nervous system dysfunction, and neurosensory challenges, and how relieving this sensory tension could help bring your family the relief you've been searching for a really long time. So let me tell you about Amelia, a really bright young girl who started chiropractic care. What she was dealing with was repetitive movements, nodding movements, and her mom noticed that these tics would actually show up whenever Amelia felt anxious, and it almost felt as if they helped her release the butterflies that were in her stomach. So the traditional approach, the medical approach, pointed to blocked adenoids, and even after surgery, that stimming persisted, and it actually even got a little bit worse. So when the medications were suggested as the next step, her mom's intuition told her that there really had to be a better way. Through advanced neurological scanning, what was discovered was that really essentially what a lot of doctors are missing. Amelia's nervous system was stuck in a chronic state of stress and imbalance, and her body wasn't just randomly engaging in these nodding movements. It was desperately really trying to regulate itself. So according to the CDC, approximately 1 in 36 kids in the United States are diagnosed with autism and stimming behaviors, and are reported in over 90% of these cases. So studies actually indicate that heightened sensory processing difficulties correlate with increased anxiety, and that leads to a 40% higher likelihood of stimming in stressful environments. So I really want to break this down so that you have a solid and firm understanding of the real purpose of stimming and what's going on. So let's do this. Imagine feeling like the world around you is just too much. Sounds are way louder, lights are brighter, and everything feels overwhelming. For children with autism, this really is their daily experience. So stimming, it's not a random habit, it's their nervous system that's actually trying to cope with that chaotic environment, and it's their way of self-soothing and attempting to bring some sense of balance to their overloaded nervous system. Research actually shows that 80% of adults with autism report that stimming helps them reduce anxiety and actually feel a little bit calmer. And these movements act as a coping mechanism for an overwhelmed nervous system that's stuck in a constant fight or flight state, which we talk a lot about on this channel. A 2021 study found that children who experience chronic sensory overload are twice as likely to engage in frequent stimming behaviors as well. So what's the neurological root cause behind stimming? So let's take a step back and look at what's actually happening inside the body. So the nervous system has two sides of it, or two branches. We have the sympathetic side, which is the fight or flight side over here, and then the parasympathetic, or the rest and digest side over here, and the healing side. And ideally, these two work together like a well-balanced seesaw, keeping the body in harmony. For many children with autism, though, what happens is their seesaw is broken. So their body's constantly stuck in this fight or flight mode, making it impossible to properly regulate emotions and behaviors and sensory processing issues. And so the sympathetic, or the fight or flight side of the nervous system, it's really hyperactive, and that parasympathetic side, that rest and heal and digest side, is incredibly underactive, and it leads to this crazy imbalance. And that's when kids get stuck in this state that we call dysautonomia, which traps the child in a cycle of sensitivity overload. There's actually research that suggests that children with autism spectrum disorder are 5 times more likely to exhibit nervous system dysregulation, and that contributes to their stimming behaviors. What really, the hidden factor here that most doctors are missing is subluxation and neurospinal dysfunction. So what if the body wasn't just randomly stuck in this dysregulated state? So what if there's a deeper neurostructural reason behind what's going on? So enter what we call subluxation. What subluxation is it's nervous system stress that gets stuck on the nervous system, and then these two systems get stuck out of balance. It's kind of the chiropractic fancy word for nervous system distress, okay? Now, when the neurospinal system and the nervous system are really out of balance, what it does is it creates a roadblock that prevents the calming signals from reaching the brain. So this means that children aren't getting the sensory input that they need in a healthy way, so their body compensates this with stimming. When there's a lack of movement-based stimulation or proprioception, the brain actually struggles to regulate itself. So without this, children with autism and other neurological challenges they might start to resort to stimming as their body's built-in way to compensate for the issues that the imbalances that they're experiencing. There's actually a clinical review that found that neurospinal adjustments helped improve sensory regulation in 75% of children with neurological imbalances. So here's how neurologically focused chiropractic care can help. First thing is it helps regulate the sensory processing system. So what that means is subluxations, particularly in the upper cervical spine, can interfere with how the brain processes sensory information, and that leads to sensory overload and increased stimming. Chiropractic care helps restore balance, and that allows the brain to process input more efficiently and reduces the need for stimming. There's a 2018 study that found that chiropractic adjustments improve sensory processing in 80% of children with neurological challenges. A clinical trial demonstrated that spinal adjustments significantly reduce sensory hypersensitivity in children with autism by up to 60%. Pretty incredible. What it also does is it helps activate the vagus nerve for calming responses. The vagus nerve plays a really key role in activating the body's rest, regulate, heal, and digest functions, and chiropractic adjustments help activate this nerve, shifting the body from that stress mode to more of a balanced, calm state, reducing that stress-driven stimming. Research shows that vagus nerve stimulation improves emotional regulation and stress resilience in children with autism spectrum disorder by 50%. A study in the Journal of Manipulative and Physiological Therapeutics found that chiropractic care enhances vagus nerve function, and that leads to an improved calm and focused state. Improving emotional and behavioral regulation. A dysregulated nervous system makes emotional self-regulation harder for these kiddos. It increases stimming behaviors in moments of anxiety or frustration or excitement. So by addressing the root causes through chiropractic care, we can help children regain emotional balance and resilience. It's really incredible. There was another study that found that 70% of children receiving chiropractic care actually showed marked improvements in behavioral and emotional regulation, which is just so cool, right? Case studies report that families notice reduced frequency and intensity of stimming behaviors within weeks of beginning chiropractic care. And that's one of our favorite things. Now, we won't get too deep into this, but what causes the stimming, what's at the root of it, is something that we call the perfect storm. And it's a series of life factors from prenatal stresses to early birth experiences to early childhood stressors. These things all add up and eventually cause a kiddo's, at its root and core, their nervous system to become overstimulated and stressed. And you can look at other videos that we have that talk more about that, but ultimately that's what it all comes down to. What we do at Renegade Chiropractic is this. We utilize neurologically focused chiropractic care. Neurologically focused chiropractic care isn't about eliminating stimming, but it can help regulate the nervous system so that these movements are way less frequent, potentially less intense, and just less disruptive so that kiddos can get through their day with a lot more ease. A lot of parents and families report that their kids' nervous system becomes more balanced and they see improvements in sensory processing and emotional stability and just overall well-being. Like they feel safe and secure in their environment. If you want to learn more about how we can help out, click the link in our bio or comment in the comment section or DM us so that you can learn how we can support your kiddos with autism, stimming, and just nervous system challenges. We're here to help.